The blick don't sound like fume, it sound like boom. Cool clack, boom, boom, boom. I ain't no silver spoon, and I ain't broke. I grew up on plastic.
You know a better intro would be like, what's good, YouTube? Today we are reacting to the best and worst rap cities. Let's get into it.
Are you ready to see the places where the world's greatest and just straight out awful rappers come from? Because today, we are going to be looking at the best and worst cities in hip-hop right now. Now, when it comes to rap music, there is no other genre of music that values where its artists come from so much. From signature sounds and styles to feuds with other regions, where you come from as a rapper defines your career in a way that can make or break everything for you. So if you're ready to see the places in hip-hop that are dominating things right now and the ones that are a sheer and utter joke, let's waste no time, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, kicking things off with the best cities in hip-hop. The most dominant city over the past decade and to this very day is Atlanta, and even despite such important artists like
they alright, nigga. They cool, nigga.
Young Thug not being able to work on new music and the loss of some of the region's most influential rappers in recent years like Takeoff and the split up of the Migos as a whole.
Not the worst.
From creating generation-defining albums to giving us some of the most exciting moments in all of hip-hop, Atlanta has still remained as a goldmine for rap music, where the wide array of artists they have today embody the pinnacle of what hip-hop can be. This city has such an expansive palette of rappers who are running the game right now that all offer something so unique to the genre and have helped shape the best parts about it right now. Whether it's Future, who has continued to be one of the most dominant artists to this day, especially recently as he has released two of the most successful, exciting, and acclaimed albums of 2024 with We Don't and Still Don't Trust You, or 21 Savage, who has solidified himself as one of the most consistent rappers out right now between his show-stealing features and projects like American Dream. Atlanta is the region responsible for giving us so many of the most influential stars in the entirety of hip-hop, and aside from influencing mainstream trends that everyone tries to follow, Atlanta has also blossomed into one of the most dynamic and unpredictable regions in the hip-hop world as well. Whether this is because of Lil Yachty, who has blossomed into one of the most free-spirited and infatuating artists rap has right now with his ability to infuse and blend genres like nobody else can, or it's due to somebody like Playboi Carti, who has revolutionized hip-hop with his rage style. Atlanta hasn't just defined the status quo for hip-hop in today's day and age, but the city has also defined just how creative and boundless rap music is right now as well. Now, beyond all of this, what rounds out Atlanta as this center that champions everything in hip-hop is that even with rappers and sounds that steer so far away from everything the genre used to stand for, the city still also has some of the very best lyricists in the game that are pushing forward what it means to be an MC. From J.I.D., who between his sharp pen, agile flow, and personal storytelling has become one of the best artists in all of hip-hop right now through albums like The Forever Story, or even somebody like Childish Gambino, who just keeps finding new ways to tell layered and conceptual stories throughout his albums, or even a veteran like Killer Mike, who despite being in the rap game for over 20 years and being villainized by the Grammys for winning Best Rap Album with his project Michael over Travis Scott's Utopia, is still one of the most prolific rappers we have today. All in all, with so many different types of artists dominating, Atlanta...
You listen to Michael, the album? Uncypher? You support your city or no? No idea what that is. Wow.
Really does offer the best of all worlds in hip-hop, and the best part about the region is, these artists don't just all exist in isolation of one another, but whether it's a veteran lyricist or a young hitmaker, the unity that so much of this city has is unlike anything else in hip-hop right now. Now, time and time again, we have seen Atlanta's unity result in some of the strongest musical moments in recent years, as whether it's J.I.D. teaming up with 21 Savage to infuse lyricism and wit in a way like we have never seen before on a hit track like Surround Sound, or even a certified hitmaker and superstar like Future teaming up with Killer Mike and then getting an all-time Atlanta legend in Andre 3000 to come together and infuse all this musical magic together on the Grammy-winning song Scientists and Engineers. The way that rappers as seasoned as Andre 3000 are still willing to team
I ain't gonna lie. What's the title of the vid? Best and worst rap cities. I ain't gonna lie, he's lazy.
Up with generations of artists that have followed him and infused the DNA that has built the city up right back into any wave that is emerging in the region today. First-hand showcases the rich bond the city's heritage creates, and overall, with so many rappers constantly pushing forward the genre in every way possible and then collaborating and championing one another to make the best music and most successful artists possible. Looking at all this, it makes it pretty clear why Atlanta is not just one of the best regions in hip-hop right now, but it's one of the strongest of all time. Now, when it comes to the success and on-the-pulse taste-making ability that Atlanta has that is always making for such great artists and popular sounds, nobody's been aware of the city's one-of-a-kind power more than Drake. And as he has tried to team up with so many Atlanta artists over the years, from 2 Chainz and Future to 21 Savage and Lil Baby, as Drake has tried so hard to insert himself into the center of the waves this region has created. The own city he is from in Toronto has just continued to plummet as a respected region in hip-hop, because the worst thing that can possibly happen to a place in rap has happened there, which at this point is that the city has no musical identity of its own. Currently, with Drake running away from his roots more and more, and somebody like Tory Lanez no longer being able to release new music,
about like
the rapper who is embodying Toronto the most in their material is none other than Nav, and if Nav is your go-to guy, I think it's safe to say you may have some problems. Now, the Toronto rap scene is not in the state it is in because there is a lack of talent necessarily, but the problems stem from the top guys in the region simply neglecting building strength in the places they are from's own music scene. You can't really blame anybody else in this regard for this problem other than Drake, because since the very start of his career, he has always been chasing the waves artists from other regions, whether this was Lil Wayne or all the Atlanta artists were making, as he's teamed up with them, and in instances where he has worked with other musicians from where he is from. It has been mostly people within the R&B lane, and in this regard, whether it's The Weeknd who ran away from Drake because he saw the nightmare that his life would have been had they worked closer and closer together, or even somebody like Party Next Door, who has always seemed like, despite his moderate success, because of being signed to Drake, has never been able to become the star that he may have been destined to at one point. In some shape or form, Drake has shown that working with him is a curse that holds your career back, as joining his label OVO Sound is pretty much a trap for artists where they get no support from Drake and just end up ghostwriting for him and giving him their best reference tracks. So overall, in this regard, maybe it's best for the Toronto rap scene that the only
Drake is ass, nigga. If you want to make it, I've said this to my brother. You trying to tell me that Drake is a hit maker? He make niggas careers. Yeah, you got a career for what, like 2-3 months? You can do tours for like 2-3 months. But after that, my nigga, you ain't got no career. You got a song. He ain't give you a career. He gave you a song. Somebody like J. Cole, and he gave you a career, nigga. He don't just give you a song. He help you work on your art, nigga. He makes your shit good, nigga.
Only guy Drake has signed recently is somebody as awful as Smiley, but as time has went on and Drake has only become bigger and bigger, it feels like any semblance of a sound that Toronto had at all, like the cold melodic vibes him, The Weeknd, and even Tory Lanez used to embody, has just vanished, and as Drake has tried to insert himself directly into the music that defines other cultures and regions over and over again at this point. As the man who has carried the torch for Toronto just threw it away and let it sink, the city is in a place today where, from the lack of unity, artist support, and overall identity, is one of the worst places in hip-hop. Now, when it comes to calling out Drake for failing his city, running away from his roots, and trying way too hard to fit in with what feels like every popular musical style, like everything Atlanta has been doing for the past decade, nobody did a better job at waking up the world to this fact than Kendrick Lamar, and as Kendrick did this over one of the catchiest beats from DJ Mustard on his hit song Not Like Us, he has shown that the West Coast in hip-hop, despite how people have disrespected it in recent years, is stronger than ever, and after a time where from somebody like Roddy Ricch fumbling the torch that was seemingly being passed.
If you get a hit song with Drake and can't continue your career, that's your fault? No, but it'd be like, yeah, you can look at it like that, but it's like, he don't choose the right people that can make careers. Like, if you see somebody like J. Cole, he choose people that can actually rap, who can actually have like talent. Choose people with talent. He don't just choose people off. But this song kind of hot right now. Let me hop on it.
To him, to the loss of the legendary Nipsey Hussle. This resurgence in the West Coast power has been so important, and from Compton to Long Beach, the major cities that have made up this area have all been thriving like nothing else in hip-hop right now. Now, with the entirety of the rap scene in the West, what's went down is that all of the area's greatest creatives have once—
I'm gonna lie, putting Earl up there is kind of crazy since the nigga is from Chicago, but I digress. You can put him up there, I guess.
Again returned to the rap game to deliver some of the most captivating music and moments that all of the genre has seen in—
This nigga is from Chicago. He's from Chicago, okay? He's from Chicago.
Recent years. Now, we can't have this discussion without looking at Kendrick Lamar recently, because from his 2022 album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which changed how expressive and vulnerable rap music can be, to his beef with Drake, which hasn't just been one of the biggest, but also one of the most important feuds of all time, Kendrick has once again shown that he is the king of not just the West Coast, but the entirety of rap, as he uses his lyrical sword to destroy any barrier that is in his or the genre's way, even if it's the biggest pop star that rap has ever seen, but beyond just Kendrick alone. The West is thriving from so many other different places. Now, whether it's Odd Future members like Tyler the Creator and Earl Sweatshirt, who both in their own way have blossomed into two of the most brilliant rappers today, as whether it's Tyler, who has just went beyond anything that rap has ever seen, as he's invented his own genres and personalities that make for some of the best album experiences of our time, or it's Earl Sweatshirt, who has escaped the toxicity of the music industry to create some of the most personal and well-written albums rap has seen in this era. Or it's somebody like Schoolboy Q and Vince Staples, who with their latest albums Blue Lips and Dark Times have shown the beauty of maturity in rap, as they have had these full circle moments.
Yeah, that Vince Staples album, hard, not gonna lie. You should just say States. True.
Where after over a decade in the game, are able to rap to create not just some of their best sounding music ever, but also their most insightful. All in all, with artists like these, while there is no single trend that's made the West Coast have the resurgence that it is right now, the one factor that has made all of these artists some of the best in the entirety of rap right now is their one-of-a-kind ability to stand in the face of a genre that requires so many to conform, and yet not compromise the visions they have and stories they want to tell one bit. Now, this exact spirit that artists like
310 Baby, E Hard, Blue Bloods Clan, Hard, Young Slowby before he passed, hard. I gotta tune into some EBK J Ball. I gotta tune into that. I listen to some more of that. But his Boogeyman song, decent. Rimble, hard. Mozzie, he hard. He got a little bit of songs. He got some songs on him. No bullshit. Drake on the Ruler died, but he was decent. I didn't really listen to Drake. Who else? Some more names will come up my mind.
Like Kendrick and Tyler have channeled greater than almost any rapper ever has only strengthened the entirety of the West Coast more and more, as whether it's Ty Dolla $ign, who took a massive risk in making a collab record with Kanye West this year in Vultures 1, and was able to score his first career #1 album and a #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Or even beyond the vets, newer artists like Kendrick's cousin Baby Keem, who has the potential to be one of the biggest rappers of this generation, or even Ice Cold Bishop, who is turning into one of the best storytellers the new generation has to offer. With this regional spirit that is seemingly allowing so many rappers to make the most powerful and creative albums that they possibly can. As it stands, all of the major cities in the West Coast are dominating, and for this reason, it is without a doubt one of the best places to be as a creative in rap right now. Now, as the West Coast claims their title as one of the greatest rap cities like few other regions ever had in this very moment, as Kendrick Lamar has led this movement forward with everything that's come along with his beef with Drake, it only seems right that in the near future,
also, niggas be talking about the nose ring shit, but niggas don't notice that Kendrick Lamar, I ain't noticed till I think like a week ago, but Kendrick Lamar has a nose piercing, and niggas don't give him them allegations. It's crazy.
Kendrick will push the coast forward even more with a new album of his, and because I am so confident, or maybe delusional, that Kendrick is going to be giving us a brand new full-length project soon, I have been using Kalshi, which is the first legal exchange where you can trade on any single event and capitalize on what you're passionate about. Now, Kalshi has a ton of care of his good market and a promo 100i and predicts like Kanye. I am proud to description, and the thanks to Kalshi can only seem to catch W's right now. A city that when it comes to its rap scene is only taking L's is Cleveland, and while this isn't a massive city that is historically known for producing great rap, in this very moment they have never looked worse, as they don't just house some of the most hated and disappointing rappers out, but also some of the flat out worst. While this city doesn't have an expansive list of rappers who are dominating the game right now, they have three main artists who in some shape or form play significant roles in hip-hop, with these three being Kid Cudi, Trippie Redd, and MGK. And
they're right there in the video. Kid Cudi ass, MGK. He can rap like he can really rap, but Eminem just killed that nigga Steam. Trippie Redd ass, just like that.
Now for Kid Cudi, despite being an absolute legend and one of the most important rappers of the 21st century, he has been having a pretty rough year, as his album Insano was just a mess that most people felt was such a clunky and dull record compared to what he has done in the past, and while the follow-up to this record in Nitro Mega was a step up from it did not make any sort of waves to strengthen his reputation at this point, so with Cudi having one of the biggest declines...
not Trippie trying to copy other niggas' flows. Trippie trying to copy other niggas' styles and shit. Uzi just creates his own. He gets in the booth and just make his own, like, whatever he feel like. He like Dave Blunts, but not true. Dave Blunts is hard. Yeah. Dave Blunts is, yeah. And then
lines people have ever seen him have, and at the same time, somebody like Trippie Redd just consistently reminds people of his fall from grace every time he releases new music, and with MGK, well, for him just being MGK, Cleveland and the entirety of Ohio's hip-hop scene is just not in a good place, and really cementing this year was MGK and Trippie's collab project Genre Sad Boy, which if you didn't think the disappointment of the way these artists' careers has turned out was bad enough, this record was just dragged through the mud for being one of the most straight up awful and abysmal collabs that rap has seen in quite some time, and overall, with MGK and Trippie Redd just reminding everyone of how bad most of the talent.
When Trippie has good artists featuring on his songs, the songs don't turn out bad. But I'm not gonna listen to a Trippie Redd song by itself. But no.
Talent where they come from is at rapping, and Cudi is doing nothing to help their reputation right now.
He got a song with Cardi.
It's safe to say that in this very moment, Cleveland is one of the worst regions in all of rap. Now, out of all the cities in hip-hop right now, I think the one in the most interesting place right now is Chicago. Now, the Windy City has historically been a region in hip-hop that's housed a wide array of talent, from some of the most conscious thinkers to some of the most feared personalities rap has ever seen, and because of this, what Chicago's represented to the rest of the rap world has changed drastically from era to era, but right now, the city does not have the defined identity or direction it once did, and this can mainly be attributed to where all of its premier artists are at. Whether it's Kanye West, who while still making music that is finding success, is not releasing material that is anywhere near as good as his earlier projects even just a few years ago were, and on top of this is not leaning into his roots whatsoever like he once did, or it's Chief Keef, who although is still making noise with projects like Almighty So Too, is not carrying the torch like he used to, or even Chance the Rapper, who despite the failure of his 2019 album The Big Day, and the promising comeback he is showing he could have as he releases solid single after solid single. While all of the artists who have been at the center of Chicago hip-hop are still making music that is captivating on some level, it just does not have the same pull it once did, and nobody else has been able to take the reign from them. Now, looking at some of the other biggest musical sectors in Chicago, lyricists like Saba, No Name, and Mick Jenkins have still delivered solid projects in recent years that will definitely leave you thinking after a listen, but even with MCs like these, since making a super strong impact on the rap game,
niggas not finna act like Lucky not from here, niggas not finna act like Herbo not from here, niggas not finna act like Lil Durk, even though I don't fuck with Durk. Come on, bro. Come on, we just, alright, bro.
In the mid to late 2010s with their own breakout records, they have not lived up to the ceiling some thought they could reach, and beyond the new conscious rappers, someone like Polo G, who is viewed as one of the most prominent mainstream talents, has seemed to be on the decline, and while somebody like Lil Durk seems to be the current face of what the city represents, with the way his career has stagnated as he can't seem to evolve artistically, I don't think Durk being the guy is really a good thing. Now, on the bright side for Chicago, MCs like Lupe Fiasco and Common are still doing amazing things, with them both working on new albums to this day that just plan to expand so directly on some of the most pure aspects of rap music. But overall, while Chicago has great artists, albums, and songs, and also Lucky, shout out to him, to be a great hip-hop city, the area needs to be binded by more than just individual talent, and as the city is missing a true voice.
Did niggas not listen to Gemini? Come on, bro. Gemini has,
or style to bring it all together like it had during Common, Kanye, Lupe Fiasco, Chief Keef, Chances, and even Juice WRLD's primes. Sadly, the city will continue to be on the decline as a region in hip-hop, but who knows? Maybe a new star will emerge and change this narrative soon, or maybe
Star Bands. Look her up, bro. Star Bands. I've been telling niggas more lately. Star Bands is a hit, bro. No bullshit. Star Bands is a hit. Like niggas, it's like when Chicago had early Chief Keef, but like the world ain't know that we had Chief Keef. Star Bands is that people don't like. I don't think people outside of Chicago know about Star Bands, but Star Bands is hard.
Even someone like Chance the Rapper can turn the tides again for the city when he releases his long-awaited comeback album that has been over 5 years in the making with the Starline Gallery. Now, another city that suffers from a very similar problem of not necessarily lacking talent, but lacking a true identity right now is Philadelphia, and with this historically underrated but great region in hip-hop, right now it really needs something to rejuvenate what it stands for. Now, when it comes to Philadelphia, while artists like The Roots and specifically their From in Black Thought has remained as a consistent voice in the region that hasn't just redefined their own hip-hop scene in almost every single decade since the 1990s, as he has just broken down more and more barriers in the genre, Alongside the calculated wisdom and legendary catalog of somebody like Black Thought, other rappers over the years have emerged to add to the city's musical ecosystem and expand their influence, and while over the past decade, both
Uzi is like the hardest nigga from Philly right now. Uzi is dead the hardest nigga from Philly right now.
Mill and Lil Uzi Vert held down Philly in this regard as they fleshed out on different aspects of not just their own city, but rap as a whole, as Meek brought back something many people said was missing with his hardcore sound, and Uzi just revolutionized a wave that inspired a generation. But now, Meek Mill's career has just been on the decline, as his music is nowhere near as interesting as it once was, and while Lil Uzi Vert is still a massive star, as Uzi's been putting a spin on the Jersey Club sound and what Playboi Carti and his label have been doing, newer projects like the Pink Tape do not have the same identity as they once did, so overall, Philadelphia is just not in the place it was in terms of its star power and general identity, and while if the city had other acts who could hold things up without superstars, this could be a very different story. As the only other genuinely interesting rapper that's been making waves from the city right now is Tierra Whack, which shout out to her because although her music is not always the most accessible, is some of the most creative rap has seen recently, but besides this one bright spot, Philadelphia lacks the power it needs to sustain its place in the Rap City power ranking, so overall, while Black Law will continue to dominate till he decides to quit rapping, which will probably be never, the rest of the city of Philadelphia's rap scene has a lot of catching up to do. Now, when it comes to a city that's in good hands right now, there are not many places who have a better face to their rap scene than Houston, who with Travis Scott has really helped shape the modern era of their rap scene, but even with Travis and his spacey psychedelic sound becoming one of the biggest musical phenomenons in not just rap, but all of music today, it is not stepped on and in a lot of ways has only enhanced the musical roots that have defined the city's past. Now, when it comes to having a superstar like Travis Scott lead a city that, while having some all-time great rappers in eras past, never had one that was able to find the commercial success that rappers from the East and West Coast were able to see. The best thing that a rapper can do for their city is turn back to it and find artists who can only enhance the wave they are revolutionizing, and as Travis has built his Cactus Jack label, nobody has filled this role better than Houston's very own Don Toliver. Now, Don Toliver is the perfect right-hand man for Travis Scott and the city of Houston as a whole, as the two work off one another so well with their spacey sounds and memorizing vocals, which, while being somewhat similar, are pretty different in terms of how they use them to make great music. And overall, with Don being able to stand on his own as a solo artist at this point, who is releasing some of the most anticipated albums in the genre, he has shown life and viability to this wave of music they have created, but also for the city of Houston's rap scene as a whole, as the talent of the region is on display more now than it ever has been. And in addition to these two artists, Houston has other rappers like Megan Thee Stallion, who through a lot of her music, whether she gets credit for it or not, contains a lot of classic influences from Houston rappers in eras past like UGK and specifically Pimp C, and rounding out this talent in this city right now and embodying what it means to be a Houston rapper in the traditional sense better than anyone else, you have somebody like Maxo Cream, whose infusion of the iconic Houston swagger with modern production is—
the glaze has to be studied, bro. Nigga is getting coated, like dead ass. Nigga's coating his face right now, straight glaze.
Keeping the city's history well and alive. So all in all, for Houston having rappers that are expanding on just how powerful the region can be as a whole, and at the same time, for also having artists that are preserving what has been sacred to the city's history, the area is really a textbook definition of what one of the best cities in rap right now should look like. Now, out of all the major cities, it seems like one that, despite all the rapid changes in the genre over the years, has managed to keep its identity and evolve it into so much more is Detroit. And with this region, from legends that are still doing their thing to new artists and new waves that are emerging and taking over the rest of the rap world, Detroit has managed to navigate this era in hip-hop masterfully. Whether it's legendary MCs like Eminem and Royce da 5'9", who have still managed to be active, and in somebody like Eminem's case, whether you love or hate it, is still making music that everyone will talk about, or even somebody like Danny Brown, who has continued to release some of the most ambitious music in all of hip-hop, or even Big Sean, who at this point in his career seems more focused and capable of making something special than ever. The biggest players in Detroit hip-hop from the past few decades are still making their home proud, and beyond these establishments, Detroit had an entire new wave of artists emerge and finally get the flowers they deserve after years of grinding. From a rapper like Boldy James now being seen as one of the genre's most revered lyricists and hardest workers, or guys like V's and Babyface Ray taking Detroit's current signature sound to new heights as they have blown up. Detroit doesn't just have respectable artists who are releasing great music from all corners of the rap worlds, but they have—
You know what's crazy? I was in Discord maybe like a year ago telling niggas, yo, V's hard, yo, listen to V's go crazy. I remember listening to his music when he only had like 400K niggas, and niggas are like, yo, stop. Like, you're cutting a promo on this nigga. And I slowly just seeing it go, hit 1 million. I think he had like, V's at 1.3 million. So he then on up to 1 million. I literally seen—
have a sound that defines them and is helping more and more talent from the city blow up. So for this reason, for having not just a pool of great artists, but also ones that are unified and whose work is helping the next guy get discovered, Detroit is one of the best places to be as a rapper right now. Now, out of every major city in hip-hop, one that, despite all the amazing rappers it has given, still does not get the recognition it deserves is London, and where for decades, most hip-hop that was made outside of the US was seen as a lesser form of the art and something that shouldn't be respected in the big leagues. If there were any people who still thought like this, the wave of London rappers who have been taking over the game in recent years definitely should have put any remaining doubts to rest. The London rap scene is really a breath of fresh air in a hip-hop world where people often complain about how stale things have gone, as some of the scene's best artists have taken hip-hop as we know it and added such a refreshing spin to everything. From an MC as prolific as Dave, who is able to infuse poignant lyricism right into hit songs like few other rappers can, or Little Sims, who's made some of the best written and produced hip-hop records of our generation. London rappers have shown to do things that most US rappers can't even come close to, and with more rappers from the region like Stormzy and Skepta proving this to be even more true through their incredible work over the years, and guys like Central C and even J Hus just delivering straight bangers, London really has an elite pool of talent that only seems to be getting bigger as the region is getting more and more recognition globally. And when you look at all the talent leading the city forward and see how Drake has collabed with just about all these artists, while this is pathetic for Drake, it does show you that this city is doing something special. Now, one of the reasons why some cities have not been able to have insane success and dominance when it comes to their rap scenes on this list is because of the loss of some of their most important figures. And as we look at Miami and the entirety of the Florida rap scene, it's impossible to look at the current state of the region and think that if XXXTentacion was still here, everything would be in an entirely different place, because from a more motivated Ski Mask the Slump God to one of the most important voices that rap had in the late 2010s, so much of what was special that the area was building on was never able to take off in the way that it could have. And at this point, with other rappers from the area like Lil Pump and Smoke Perp being only remembered for just falling into absolute irrelevancy, artists like the City Girls falling off miserably, and Kodak Black doing everything aside from pushing his music forward at this point in his career, all the Miami rap scene is left with is Rick Ross, who is the definitive legend from this city who's held it down for almost 20 years with his one-of-a-kind flow and ear for the most lavish of beats, and also Denzel Curry, who, while being one of the best rappers out today, is only improving by going down a more personal path with his artistry that nobody else can really follow. So overall, while Florida still does have amazing artists, between the unfortunate loss of great talent and the embarrassment of having some of the most disgraced rappers out, the city's rap scene is in a state where it definitely needs something new to rejuvenate it. Now, another city whose rap scene is in a strange place today is Memphis, although for very different reasons, because while many Memphis artists have seen a lot of commercial success in recent years, a lot of the music they are putting out is just not adding anything meaningful to the rap world right now. Now, when it comes to the city of Memphis's rap scene, the best MC from this city is without a doubt Key Glock, who has done amazing things recently, but outside of this, whether we're looking at somebody like Yo Gotti, Moneybagg Yo, or NLE Choppa, who is just flat out awful, outside of legends like Project Pat, DJ Paul, and Juicy J, who still come around with quality music every time they stamp their name on something, from its sound to its subject matter, so much of Memphis rap feels like it's only being made to spawn TikTok trends and inflate record sales, and as a result, a lot of the biggest rappers and crews from this area just feel like they are hustling you for your time as opposed to offering you something that is genuinely of worth. Still, with all this said, with Memphis having some very good rappers, this city is not horrible, but overall, I think this is a region that shows just from how a city's drive to turn a creative art form into a
Dolph gave that nigga the torch the right way.
Full-on business. It can just put a bad name on anything integral coming out of it. Now, out of every single city in hip-hop, No place is more iconic than New York, and when it comes to the current state of the greatest city in rap, when you look at how we went from this, or even this, to this, it definitely looks like the birthplace of rap is a far cry from what it once was, but this is not exactly the case.
I'm tired of niggas hating on Ice Spice, bro. I'm tired of niggas hating on Ice Spice. It's not even just because she look good, bro. Like, if we keep it a buck, bro, if you go through her last EP, that shit was hard. No bullshit.
Now, what's wrong with New York hip-hop and has disgraced it in the rap world in a way is the current state of its mainstream scene. That is for sure.
Like one bad
song. Ice Spice are really the only artists carrying the torch in this regard, and with the melodic wave revolutionized by A Boogie and Lil TJ being burnt out, and drill not being what it was ever since the loss of Pop Smoke. Because of the way that so many artists jumped on these trends, never put their own spin on things, and really just did this to try to blow up as quickly and easily as possible, without any sort of artistic integrity at all. New York artists made a lot of what the city has had going for it cave in on itself, and as a result, when it comes to what people are trying to make pop off, the city's rap scene just seems like a wasteland of garbage. But beyond this layer of trash and the disappointment of somebody like A$AP Rocky and Cardi B disappearing, and maybe even Joey Badass for never dropping as much as rappers like Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole did, and as a result, never becoming as dominant, New York hip-hop is still in a pretty good place where to this day, from young MCs to seasoned vets who have been around since hip-hop's birth, there are countless MCs that are just creating for the very love of the craft. No matter if you're looking at Griselda out in Buffalo, who have revolutionized lyrical rap, state and genre-wide, Rock Marciano, who is one of the illest MCs alive, or the infectious personality of Action Bronson. Guys like these have carried the torch for what New York rap has stood for over 50 years, and beyond just acts like these who still dominate today with quality release after quality release. There's no other place in hip-hop where legends don't just still release music and impact the scene, but also do it at such a high level. Whether it's Yonkers' very own Jadakiss, who...
But the thing about New York is, I'm gonna keep it above. The thing about New York is it's so many different artists, and it's so many like what they would consider underground artists. Right? They only have one sound that's getting pushed right now. It's either Catch Cobain. It's like the drill flow. Like niggas gotta be on like a drill beat flow. If you don't push that sound, then you're not gonna blow up out of New York. But then what you do, you have niggas dumb it down their music, and they know they can make better music than that. But instead they dumb down their music, which it makes it sound like it's all just the same dumb music getting pushed out. But when niggas get in freestyle, they go in there and they actually rap, and you like, what the fuck? Why you ain't putting this shit out? You know what I mean? That's what I be hating about rappers, bro. They go into a freestyle, be giving their best 16 in their life, but then they make bullshit songs. Like, nigga, if you just hop on this bitch and just freestyle over beats, nigga, it'll be hard.
Who is still stopping shows anytime he hops on a track, or Mos Def, who has become one of the most desirable feature artists you can find, or of course, Jay-Z, who has blossomed into a rapper who, while he does not come out often, when he does, delivers a surefire verse of the year contender every time, or Nas, who has released great album after great album this decade that is redefining how a rapper can age entirely. While the current state of New York hip-hop may seem like a mess because of what younger stars have done, the true artists and greats of generations past have shown that while greed and corruption can dilute something as powerful as rap music in its birthplace, the heart and soul of it can never be destroyed. So there you have it. There are the best and worst cities in hip-hop right now, and with all of that said, what do you think is the best place to be in rap right now, and what do you think is the worst? I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Give it like 2 more years,
if you want to see what the best and worst
see Star
rap
Bands
labels
is one of the best artists in the world.
Check out the suggested video.
I stand on that. If you don't know who Star Bands is, go check out who the fuck Star Bands is, because one of the best. You're gonna be one of the best out. Give it like 2-3 more years. Once you hone in and have a long enough discography, he's gonna respect it.